Hey everybody, this is Flavio Romeo, and on this episode of the Towncast, we catch up with the Hurley brothers, Bob and Frank Hurley. Currently, they are riding their bicycles from San Diego, California, all the way to Florida. They expect to be there right around Thanksgiving, and right now they're in Arizona. They're on their way to Texas, and you'll get a chance to follow them every step of the way. They'll tell you how you can do that. They post some beautiful pictures, and they're doing it all for charity. So I encourage you guys to look up their charities. They're very good charities. I looked them up, and they are definitely worthy causes. So enjoy the episode, everybody. All right, everybody. I can't even tell you how excited I am about this particular episode because not only do we have two Hawthorne legacy guys, the guys that went through the entire Hawthorne school system, but they're taking on this monumental task of riding bikes from California to Florida. And guys, I give you guys a tremendous amount of credit. Bob Hurley, Frank Hurley, thank you so much for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having us, Flavio. We appreciate the opportunity.
I can't even believe, and they're riding. So they rode today, and I can't believe that you look like you just got off the beach.
We've been going through the dirt now for 8 straight days. So I got 50 block on it. It doesn't seem to hold up,
Well, you definitely don't have Italian skin.
No, absolutely not.
So let's talk a little bit about. So you guys were born and raised in Hawthorne, right?
That's right.
Yeah, we grew up in the shadow of the Hawthorne Pool, 80 Elberon Ave, and I'm happy to say that all 7 Hurley children are still alive and well and communicating, regularly with each other, and we're getting a lot of support from the folks not directly involved.
That's awesome. That's what year did you guys graduate?
So I graduated in 1976.
And I was in 77.
All right. And I know you have a younger brother that graduated. You guys were all close.
Yeah.
About 16 months apart, 3 of us. And so Bob's 16 months younger than me, and John's 16 months younger than Bob. And graduated 3 successive years from Hawthorne High School.
Wow. So every year somebody a Hurley was graduating.
Yep.
Before us, Sister Pat graduated from Hawthorne High, and Sister Peg graduated from Hawthorne High.
Wow. So was there some sibling rivalry between you boys? Competition?
Yes. The natural, normal amount for 3 males that are growing up in the same household. We competed.
So were you guys, so obviously you were competitive when you were growing up. Were you guys cyclists back in school or after you got out of high school?
Well, I started cycling when I went to high school. But
you did?
Yeah. But prior to that, we did a lot of we did all the normal sports. I played football for a couple of years. Bob did also. And, they were better at baseball than I was. We both spent a lot of time at the Hawthorne Pool, and our names are on the wall there for that too. So that's a little bit of a story.
Yeah, you could say there was a little bit of pressure there. It started with our sister Peg was the outstanding swimmer, and I think 1 or 2 years later, Frank was the outstanding swimmer. Then the following year, I was. So,
what about John?
He was close.
Yeah, he was close.
Yeah.
So there was definitely that competitive spirit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what happened when you guys got out of high school? What was your path after high school?
Well, one funny story I want to tell you. I was thinking about this last night. So Frank used to run cross country when he was in high school. And when he would go out and run, I would ride his bicycle. And he would run up and down McFarland Avenue. And I remember taking his bicycle and riding it to the top of McFarland Avenue.
You
without
rode up
stopping.
McFarland Ave?
I did. Now I didn't go straight up. I went zigzagging 100
Right,
times,
zigzagging,
back and
zigzagging.
forth. But it was a huge accomplishment for me to get that bike to the top of McFarland. I think in the meantime, he ran up and ran back down and ran up and ran back down again,
Yeah, and for you guys that don't know, McFarland Ave is, I think it's like a 60 or 70 degree
It's crazy.
Yeah.
grade. I mean, it's
Right. Yeah.
it's amazing. So just walking up that,
Mhm.
let alone running or biking up.
Yeah.
So once you got out of high school, which way did you guys go? How did your paths go?
Yeah, so I went to Eau State for 2.5 years, and then I switched to Ohio State, and I ended up graduating from Ohio State.
Okay.
Yep.
What was your
My
major?
degree, business degree, basically with specialty in marketing and operations management.
Oh
And
wow.
then after that, I got a master's degree, MBA.
What was your goal?
What my goal?
Yeah, I mean, did you have a career that you had in
Oh,
mind?
just get a good job, and I was fortunate to land a few good jobs, and it's I've had a very interesting career that I'm happy with.
Nice. Are you retired?
I am. I retired about 2 years ago because due to COVID, the company I was working with, they built airplanes, and they had to downsize, so they offered a package. So I retired about 2 years ago.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
All right, and Bob, how did you go? What path did you take?
Well, I immediately got a job after high school at Prospect Park National Bank in Hawthorne,
Sure.
right
Yeah,
on Lafayette Avenue, right next to where the old Grand Union used to be.
yeah.
And I worked there a couple of years. Went to school at night, but then ended up getting into warehousing and finally got into the vending industry. And as a route driver, and literally spent the next 42 years in that industry, every position imaginable. At
Wow.
one point, I was vice president for a company called Sodexo, which is a French company, and I had operations across the country. So similar to Frank, I was blessed with a good career, and the company I'm with now actually sells technology to the vending industry. And they've given me a lot of latitude to basically stay employed, mentor some younger people on the sales staff, and do the ride at the same time.
So you're still working.
I am, yeah.
Wow. And how are you?
It's not unusual for him to get a phone call while we're pedaling across the desert.
Does he have an earbud in so he can do you really?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Working while you're riding. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So, a couple of the rides we were on, it was nice and quiet, and there was plenty of opportunity to do that. If you saw any of the videos I posted,
Yeah.
a couple of those times I was actually talking to customers and staff, and trying to get business done.
You're in the middle of the desert. How much noise could there be?
Yeah.
So a lot of passing trains.
That's right.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Long ones, like 500 cars long with 6 locomotives. Just,
Well, it's probably all coming out of California. All the
yeah,
containers are
yeah.
coming
Well,
out.
it's livestock going from the Midwest to the coast. It's stuff coming off container ships and going east.
So when did you guys get started? When did you start your ride?
We started out of San Diego on Thursday, the 29th of September.
You started. You started. So not long ago. You started 29th of September. And what is your goal to finish? I'm sure you guys mapped it all out, right?
Yes. So our goal is to be in St. Augustine, where he lives, on the day before Thanksgiving.
So you got two saints. You start at St. Diego and you end up in St. Augustine.
Exactly.
Nice.
We've
You have
got
the
a
angels
lot of
watching over
angels,
you.
and we've got a lot of angels riding with us, believe me.
I would imagine. Was there what was so you guys took different paths. What was the inspiration for you guys to get together and take this ride?
Well, I'd been thinking about it for a long time. I had friends in high school that mentioned that they'd done it. And so they were a little bit older than me, but they told me that they'd done it. So that really piqued my interest. And I always held it in the back of my mind as something I wanted to do. And then about a year and a half ago, again, retired 2 years ago. So a year and a half ago, my daughter called. She says, "Are you still thinking about doing cross-country bicycle trip?" And I said, that's a great idea. So I immediately called Bob, and we very quickly made the decision that it was a good thing to do.
Really? So, Bob, you just said, okay, let's do it.
Well, at the time, Flavio, I had actually suffered an accident. I fell in my home and I split my head open.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I got nerves impinged in my back. So I was literally bedridden for 3 months, and the doctors could figure out what was going on. I got epidural in my back. I had brain scans and different MRIs done. That
Holy
kind of
cow.
thing.
How long ago did that happen?
This was May of 2020. It was right, as things were ramping up with COVID. So
Yeah.
it was a scary time to be going to doctors and hospitals and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
no kidding.
I still remember the night the accident happened. My wife ended up having to call an ambulance, and they came and rushed me to the hospital. And I mean, I was in pain everywhere, and they stitched up my head. And then in order to admit me, they had to do the COVID test. And I was just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And they just, rammed the things up your nostrils and started circling. It was just, all right, whatever.
So how long were you laid up for?
I really honestly couldn't walk until late August, early September. I
Of
started
last year?
of 2020. So
Okay.
from May of 2020 through the end of August, I was stuck in bed and using a wheelchair and just very immobile. And the first month, I mean, I was in so much pain. If I got 2 hours of sleep a night, it was a lot. So, but every single day I got a phone call from Frank or Harry or Pat or Peg or Kathy or John or all of them, just, keeping me going. And so when Frank called about the bike trip, it was just like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to find a way to do it.
Wow.
And,
When did he call you? When did you get that call?
you remember?
Do you remember?
I'm going to say it was probably September, that he called me. So right when I was starting to walk again, I had gotten surgery on my knee, and it was what I needed to get me, through the toughest aspects of rehab, pain and
Wow.
everything you got to go through when you're going through something physical like that.
So you felt that was really an inspiration, like that was the carrot that was hanging in front of you.
Absolutely.
The goal.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very Frank. You know what? Kudos to you for coming up with that idea. I mean, I would have just been angry with you. Let me get out of this wheelchair, would you please? You want me to put me on a bike and go across country? Relax.
That'll come probably when we get to Texas.
I bet. So, all right. So here you are. It's an unbelievable story. I mean, from a wheelchair to a bike, at least you're still on wheels.
Yeah.
So you started on the 29th and you mapped it all out. On average, are there a certain number of miles that you plan on doing? Tell me the whole process, because I'm truly am fascinated by this.
So we knew it's going to be a total length of about 3,100 miles on a bicycle. We figured we wanted to do it in about 8 weeks, so we divide 56 weeks, and by 3,100, and it gets you roughly around 60 miles a day.
So, 60 miles a day with no days off.
Very few, right?
Yeah, and the toughest thing is you're dealing with so many different terrains, right? So, for example, last Saturday we started in the mountains in California, and we came over I-8, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not, but
No,
I
not
mean,
down
we were
there.
at 3,000 plus foot elevation, and we're going 38 miles an hour down the shoulder on I-8. And then when we get to the bottom, then we hit the desert. And so we did 64 miles that day. And if,
All downhill.
well, not all downhill. It was downhill like for the first 28, and then the rest of it was flat and very, very hot
And dry.
and a headwind, which, we thought going from west to east, we would have the prevailing winds. So far,
Right.
that has not been the case.
So you didn't anticipate that at all.
No, well, we did a little research, and we did know that if you're coming across the northern part of Mexico, the southern part of the U.S. against Mexico, we did know that there can be a probability of winds from the east, but from coast to coast, the prevalent wind is
Yeah, of
from the
course.
west.
You're going west to east.
So we hope that when we after we get up to the plateaus in New Mexico, and now we're coming down, from that point on, we hope and expect that there's going to be prevailing winds pushing us gently.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around. Did you guys go through any training process, or did you guys do some like practice runs, or what was the whole process leading up to the day you started?
So I was fortunate because I had a bicycle at his house in St. Augustine, and I had a bicycle at my place. So we tried to get together frequently, and I would drive down to Florida and train in the wintertime with him, background. And then when it was weather was better, I would train at my house or in my area around Greensboro, North Carolina, which is slightly mountainous. So
Yeah, it is mountainous. I know that area.
My hill training in North Carolina, and then my distance training with him in Florida.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of hill training in Florida.
No,
Not at all.
Frank would know when I crossed the bridge because I would send him my updates, and he'd see, oh, you got the 400 feet. You must have gone over a bridge.
Meanwhile, he's texting that at 1,600 feet.
Yeah, exactly. But, we also looked at events, and, it's amazing, the bicycling community. Almost every state has a lot of people bicycling and a lot of bicycling events. And our brother Harry, who lives in Georgia, told us about Bike Ride Across Georgia, Bragg Ride. They do it every year. And so we had our sights on that. And in June, we took Frank's RV. Harry, our oldest brother, and John were our support team. And they followed Frank and I as we did the Bragg Ride, which was a 7-day event with 1 day off in the middle. And we rode from Columbus, Georgia to Brunswick, Georgia, and different stops in between. So a little over 400 miles.
How many?
A little over 400.
Wow. And what's the name of that ride?
It's Bragg, BRAG, Bike Ride Across Georgia.
Well, if you do that, you're completely entitled to brag all you want. So you did. How long of a process was that? How long did that take?
It was a week. It was Sunday to Saturday, and then in July,
Sunday to 7 days to go 400 miles.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. In July, we did RAGBRAI, which is, I'm not sure what the RAG stands for, but
Republican General. Those are two papers in Iowa. Republican General Ride Across Iowa. So
Bike Ride.
I know that one's a little that one I've heard of.
Yeah. So 25 to 30,000 cyclists doing that ride. And I mean, it was just an awesome event. I mean, we got so lucky. The week before, temperatures out there were 100 plus degrees. When we got to the starting point, which was Sergeant Bluff on the west end of Iowa, that Saturday it was 100 degrees. That night it rained, and from that point on, the temperature stayed in the 70s. So
Wow.
we did about 460 miles that week, uh, basically going from one end of Iowa to the other. Yeah.
That's when you know you have angels looking over. That's why you figured, let me
Yeah.
do angel to angel. We got the angels
Yeah.
around us.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. We're only, 9 days to this. We feel like we're using up all our angels because some stuff has happened. We had a malfunction with the RV one morning that we thought was just going to trap us for 6 hours.
Oh
And
no.
literally a guy comes pulling up alongside of us and we asked him if he knew anything, and boom, he got it started.
Seriously?
It was just, yeah, just boom, just like that.
You have angels riding with you.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you have a lot of people praying for you guys. I know
Oh,
that.
we do. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. So here you are. Now, where are you now? Now, what part of Arizona are you guys?
We're in Mesa, Arizona right now at the border of Mesa and Apache Junction. If people know a little bit about the area, so it's a little bit outside Phoenix,
East of Phoenix.
east of Phoenix.
All right. So for you guys that are watching, that are listening, you can actually track their progress. I'm gonna read it out to you. You can go on Facebook. It's Coast, the number 2, Coast, the number 4, charity. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Coast to coast for charity.
Coast to Coast for charity. And I want to talk a little bit about, and I have to tell you, the pictures are beautiful. And for you guys watching and listening, go on and just, I know how much it would, you guys would appreciate just kind words, just positive words,
Absolutely.
knowing that you've got all of these people that are behind you and really rooting you on, because
Mm-hmm.
you're on, even though you guys are riding together, it's a solo sport. You're by yourself on a bike.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know that you've got a lot of people that are tracking you now. So hopefully, I want to encourage everybody, share this with all your friends, share this with family, share this with strangers, and let's get everybody behind these two guys. I want to talk a little bit about the charities you're working on. Frank, tell me a little bit about the charity that you're working for.
Sure. So I do now that I'm retired, I do volunteer work in Greensboro, North Carolina. It's an organization called Greensboro Urban Ministries, and I work in the food pantry. And so my charity is the intent is to raise money for the food pantry as part of Greensboro Urban Ministries. The organization itself serves underprivileged and poverty-stricken people in the Greensboro area.
How long have you been working with the charity?
Ever since I retired 2 years ago.
So there must have been real need during the pandemic.
Yes, very busy place, and a lot of people helped, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. It's awesome. Is there a website that people can go to?
Yeah, so if you go to greensborourbanministry.org and then you search for Find Frank, there's a link to
Is there a Find Frank on there? Really?
Kind of like, where's Waldo?
That's so cool. Find Frank. All right. So they go to greensborourbanministries.org.
Right.
And you look for Find Frank.
Yeah.
So they can donate to your charity.
That's true.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Bob, tell me a little bit about the one you're working with.
Yeah, so the charity I'm working with is based out of Ponte Vedra, Florida, which is about 20 minutes from where I live. It's Canines for Warriors. It's an organization, I want to say they started roughly 18 years ago, and they started taking rescue dogs, training the rescue dogs, and then matching them up with veterans who are suffering from PTSDs.
Yeah.
And what they've found is a tremendous reduction in the amount of suicides by getting those veterans matched up with these dogs. So, with every matchup, they're saving 2 lives. They're saving a dog and they're saving that veteran. And, I've had the opportunity to attend events at their facility. I've met some of the veterans, and they say it's overwhelmingly changed their lives. It's allowed them to re-engage with their families. And I've met some mothers who have lost their sons to suicide as a result of, the PTSDs, that kind of thing. And it's just a really, quality organization. I can't say enough positive things about what they're doing.
Yeah, we had a very close friend of ours that came back from the war and got a canine, and it was just, and he admitted it saved his life.
Yeah.
It's and people, I don't, people just don't realize how, I think people that have pets and have dogs understand it, but I think in a large part they don't really understand when someone comes back with PTSD from the military, the bond that these dogs provide to them is really, it's like now they have purpose. It gives them purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah. And is there a website that people can go to?
So it's Canines for Warriors. They can just go to the Canines for Warriors website. So K, the number 9S, FOR Warriors. And then
.org?
my site on their site is Pedaling for Paws. So pedaling the number 4 paws.
PAWS.
Correct.
Yeah. I would be PAUSE. I would be pedaling. Just relax. Let's take a breather.
Yeah.
And then there's also a third charity that we're sponsoring. So our friend is driving the RV while we're pedaling. And the third charity it's called It's All About the Shoes. And it's an organization in the Cincinnati area that provides soccer shoes for underprivileged high school students.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so the links to each of these charities are on the webpage that you and I talked about earlier, Coast to Coast for Charity. So if they go to that website, the Facebook page, they can find a link to each of the 3 charities.
And listen, I know you guys aren't going to say it, so I'm going to say it to you guys. I had asked them before we started recording. I had asked them if they had like a charity, just raising money for themselves, a GoFundMe or one of these, and they said no. They are doing this strictly for the charities that you guys are representing. So I really admire that, and I appreciate that. That's pretty awesome that you guys are doing that. So talk a little bit about your RV driver.
Oh yeah, he's a friend of mine from Ohio State, college friend, and he lives in Cincinnati. He's been there a long time, and he started this organization. It's all about the shoes.
That's so great.
Yeah, and he's been doing a charity for a while, and so as part of this collective opportunity, we're promoting his charity as well.
And I know he has a ride along buddy, doesn't he?
He does. His dog Yeti.
Yes. And you guys can see pictures of Yeti on Coast to Coast for Charity on Facebook. So make sure you check out the page. I'm hoping that in the next couple of weeks that we reconnect and see where you guys are. I'm assuming that once you get into the I don't know, you guys may get you guys may be sunburned the whole ride. I don't know.
That's right.
I think at some point, but you guys are out in the sun like all day.
Yeah.
Have you guys had any weather issues like rain or, I mean, obviously on the East Coast we had Hurricane Ian. So have you guys had any weather issues?
Just no rain, but strong winds, strong headwinds, and a lot of sun.
A lot of heat.
Yeah. So you're kind of looking forward to rain a little bit.
Yeah, almost.
Like drizzle.
We have to be careful what we wish for,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do. I hope that in the next couple of weeks, you reconnect. Let's do this again, and let's put it out there so that people can hear from you guys again. And I encourage all you guys listening, all you guys watching, go to Coast, the number 2, Coast, the number 4 charity on Facebook. You can track them, send them notes, send them words of encouragement. They're riding 30 to 40 miles each day. And so when they come off the road, any little word of encouragement like that, I know would help. It's just I really appreciate that you guys are doing this strictly for your charities. That's pretty awesome. And
Okay.
you know what, Bob, kudos to your company for supporting you through this.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know a lot of companies that would say, sure, take a ride, go for 2, 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah. I
You know,
agree.
they've been great. My coworkers have been great. And, you know, what you said about getting the feedback from people every day, I mean, you're understating its importance. I want to tell people out there that you know, I the opportunity to see people's names that I grew up with.
Yeah.
It just, when I'm out there on the road by myself, I'm remembering something about you, this person that has connected on Facebook and said, good luck, God bless, whatever it is. I'm thinking of you at some point on that ride and some event we shared in our life. And our cousins have been extremely supportive, our aunt and uncles, and you've been very supportive to have us on here. So we appreciate it.
Yes.
It's my pleasure. I do this for selfish reasons. I'm interested. So I really want to hear your story. Going through and looking at the map and figuring out your ride, what are the biggest challenges that you think are ahead of you?
Well, we know Texas is going to be 19 days, so that's going to be quite a thing.
That's a huge state.
I'm sorry?
That's a huge state.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying not to think of 19 days, you know. But tomorrow we probably have about a 2,000 to 2,500 foot elevation change that we have to encounter. And so that's kind of in the back of my mind right now.
Is that right?
Along with the 65 miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 65 miles point to point plus elevation gain of 2,000 to 3,000 feet.
65 miles, and you guys are going to be climbing 2,000 to 3,000 feet.
So yeah, and the thing is that as you progress, you're not going steadily uphill. So our total climb tomorrow will probably be maybe above 4,000 feet because you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down.
Yeah. I'm glad I got you today.
Yeah, that's right.
Tomorrow night would have been a lot more difficult.
Yeah. There's been a couple of days that we would have been in much rougher shape than we are today. Believe me.
Listen, reach out if you guys ever want to just jump on and do do a quick segment. I'm here for you guys. I hope that everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening, say a prayer for Bob and Frank Hurley. You guys are doing an amazing thing, and you're doing it for charity, and you're not looking for anything for yourselves. I admire that. In this day and age when everybody's, it's a me. I really admire that you guys are doing this for your respective charities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And kudos to your driver and to Yeti.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, don't go away. I'm going to sign off, but I want to say goodbye to you guys.
Okay.
Listen, I encourage you guys, go to Coast 2, Coast 4 charity on Facebook. Track these guys, see where they are. The landscape is phenomenal. The pictures that you guys put up are beautiful. So if nothing else, just see what they're seeing, and and let them be your eyes across the country, because not a lot of people do this. No one I know does this. So I'm happy that we got to talk a little bit, but driving across the country is a chore. I can't even imagine what it is cycling across. So again, thank you guys for coming on, and prayers to you guys, to you both, and your driver, and to Yeti, and to everybody that's involved. I really I admire and respect what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So I encourage you to go on, give them a word of encouragement, and donate to their charities. They're doing it for an amazing cause. And check out the websites when you go to that Coast to Coast for Charity on Facebook. Check out the websites for the food pantry, and also for canines, and also for the Cincinnati. Say it again. It was
it's all about the shoes.
It's all about the shoes. I love that. I love the name of that. And support these charities. They're doing some wonderful work. All right. Be well, everybody.